Hey, welcome back to the garage, everyone. All right, in today's video, we're going to start tearing into the rear end of this old Corvette. So you guys stick around. You don't want to miss that. Today we're going to dig into the rear end of this old Corvette. So really what I plan on doing is changing out all the rubber bushings, all the bearings, all the drive shaft U-joints, universal joints and all that kind of stuff. So just to go through the whole rear end and make sure everything is just right. We'll even take a look inside the differential. Hopefully we won't have to rebuild it. I've only ever done one in my life, so how hard could this one be? This one's a posi though, so there's some clutches in there. It's a little more complicated than the open diff in the old Cadillac. We're just going to start digging into the rear end of this Corvette. So today, let's go ahead and see if we can get the torque control arm off at the driver's side. So I picked up one of these battery operated impact wrenches a while back when I was taking that Toyota engine apart. Man, I tell you what a time saver. All right, so the car is a little high in the air actually, but I left it that way because I want to be able to get in and around and just get to everything without, you know, stooping down. So I think that'll make things a little bit easier. So this is the torque control arm. If you don't know anything about a C3 Corvette, this is, most cars, they call it the rear trailing arm, but in Corvette world, they call this the torque control arm. So basically it's a rear swing arm, lets the suspension go up and down like that. All the Corvettes, I think, they have a transversely mounted spring here. It's and I suppose it's an inexpensive way to do independent rear suspension because it is one spring, but it's held tight in the middle, so basically it's like two springs. The first thing on our list is to go ahead and disconnect the rear leaf spring from this side of the car. All right, first up, we're going to go ahead and disconnect this transverse leaf spring from the torque control arm. We're going to put a little pressure on it with a jack and a piece of wood. And I'm going to put a clamp here right next to the wood to keep it from slipping because clearly the leaf spring is, you know, got a curve in it. Yeah, I think we got it straight there. A little upward pressure. Oh man, that worked out really well. That's just so easy. Look at that. It helps when you follow the book. All right, let's go ahead and get our cotter pin out of here. I suspect this will probably just break off. Been there for a long time. 40-something years. There we go. Yeah, it was easy. All right, I got some vice grips on the bolt there. Keep that from moving. Is that working? Nope, it's not working. All right, got a 7/8 on my impact and a 13/16 on the top of the bolt. Ow! I'm gonna need a glove for that. Holy cow. I am loosening, aren't I? You gotta be kidding me. All right, so these end links are getting replaced anyway, so there's no sense in trying to kill myself over this, so. Well, that ought to do it. Let's go ahead and lower this edge of the spring gently. There we go. Get that out of our way. Huh, interesting. What's the next step? I don't know. All right, so Chevrolet calls this rear stabilizer bar, they call it the stabilizer shaft. So part of the Gymkhana suspension option. We disconnect that next. Let's just see how well it's on there after however many years. This is 23, so 45. Holy cow. Ooh, that was easy. There we go. I think a lot of these fasteners are going to get swapped out. This one looks okay, but it's a little rusty on the head there. So, you know, rubber, fasteners, bushings, bearings, all those things are going to get swapped out. So it's just time. I think the shock is next, if I'm not mistaken. And we're going to take the bottom of the shock off next. Guess we'll just tap that off. Huh. Let's see, I guess it's under a little, it's not under spring pressure. I guess the shock absorber is probably offering a little bit of pressure, plus the weight. Maybe if I just hit it harder. There we go. The shocks are getting swapped out anyway. I put a dent in it, so whatever, it doesn't really matter. All this stuff's getting swapped. Rubber, bearings, shocks, bushings, hardware, just everything. It's just too old, you know. It's just got to be replaced. All right, next thing is we're going to remove this strut rod, or whatever you want to call it. This lateral stability thing. I don't know what you call it. There's two of them. There we go. Come on. I know you've been in there a while, but it's time to go. All right. I imagine that's going to offer some firm resistance. All right, strut rod shaft, 15/16. Yeah, made quick business of that, didn't we? How does that come out of there? I guess, does that whole thing slip out of there? I don't know. How does that even work? I don't know. How does that even work? All right, so I'm going to raise that just a little bit. So the strut rod here is connected to the spindle here using what's called a strut rod shaft. And the other end of the shaft holds the shock absorber, and this end has the nut. So now with a little bit of pressure off of that, should be able to let me get a center punch. Let's see, will that just come out on its own? Of course not. Let's tap that out of there. There we go. That is the strut rod shaft. How about that? All right, so let's take the pressure off there. And let's move the strut rod downward out of the way. Let's see here. There we go. There we go. Those bushings are completely trash, but they're still pretty stiff. All right, let's get this shock all the way out of here. Got a 5/8 and an 11/16. There we go. Out of curiosity, let's see. Are these shocks any good? No. I can push them in. These shocks are just, you know, they're done. So, all right, we're going to take the bolts that connect the axle shaft to the spindle flange next, and they have some. They have a little metal protector here with some tabs you bend over. Assumedly to prevent the bolts from backing out. I was looking at the kit, and these come new with the kits that you buy. I think I'm going to opt for, like, you know, the full-blown kit that's got everything in it. So probably the best value for the buck. All right, let's start getting some bolts out. Those look like 5/8. They are. Whoopsie. The only thing I don't like about this Craftsman impact is the spring on the end of it, or whatever that is, really makes it hard to get the sockets on and off. There we go. That was easy. All right, let's turn the wheel here. There we go. The book said you might have to swing the torque arm out a little bit to get the axle to clear like that. All right. Well, cool. Let's see. The only thing left is the braking system, parking brake, and yeah, we're almost there. That little jewel is not exactly light, I guarantee you that. All right, we're going to go ahead and remove the brake line. This perch here for the stabilizer bar, strut bar, whatever you want to call it. Gymkhana suspension. You know, stuff is in the way. So I'm going to take the brakes off and then the bolt out here, and then I can get this off. All right, so let's disconnect the brake line from the other end over here. You want to break them loose with a flare nut wrench and use a standard for the, the rest of the way off there. Now to keep from tearing stuff up, Come on. There we go. Now we can get that out of the way. Yeah, I should have been wearing gloves there. I don't like brake fluid on my hands. Get that little spring clip off of the flex line. Put your finger around it when you tap it off of there. Otherwise, it's going to go flying across the room. And you don't want to buy another one. There's something I didn't mention about the brakes on this car. I am running .5 silicone, or as we say down south, silicone brake fluid. Let me go ahead and get this perch off of here. That was easy. All right, let's see what we have here. Put this thing back like it was, so I won't be guessing later. It's just a bar of metal with some threaded holes in it so that you can tighten this thing down in the same vicinity with that end link. All this stuff is going to be de-rusted and cleaned up. My goal is to make it look, pretty and new like I did for the Cadillac and for the Mercedes. So at the end of the day, I'm gonna have to bag and tag a bunch of stuff so I don't get confused later. This goes like that, that goes like that. And I'm gonna go ahead and put this bolt back here like this so I know how that all goes together. Actually, I got it backwards. It goes like that. Angles out, and this thing sticks out to the back like that. So anyway, there we go. Greasy fingers. Let's take the brake caliper off next. Can we get that in there? Not really. Cheetah bar, cheetah bar, cheetah bar. There we go. That rascal was on there, let me tell you what. Yeah. Every time I run that wrench, it makes fluid jump out of the caliper. That's pretty weird. Now let's see here. There we go. Come on off of there. Nothing wrong with these. I ain't gonna do nothing with these. They work good. We're just gonna set this aside over here. Let's go ahead and get our brake rotor off. And there's no need on it, blah, blah, blah. There's no need in that rotor being on there when we get ready to remove this arm, because, That just causes some grief. That's just extra weight. Take the emergency brake cable off next. It's basically a spring-loaded cable, a ball into a loop there. And that shouldn't present too much of an issue, and it doesn't. There we go. And I got a funky looking clip to take out right there. And maybe the generic tool would suffice. Maybe 2 generic tools would suffice. There we go. That's what that looks like. And let's see. I need 2 hands to get that out of there. Let's see. What am I doing here? Damn. Let's see. There we go. Everywhere I want to hang this thing, it gets in the way. Let's put you over there. And we've got this little rubber thing here. Not sure what that's about, but we'll just put you out of the way. And let's see. By golly, I think we got everything disconnected from this torque arm, or whatever you want to call it. Last thing to do is remove this bolt right here, and she'll come out of the car. All right, so I'm gonna strap this thing up, and you know, we don't want any calamity here. Let's see. Every time I do this, I got to figure out how to use it again. All right, that's good right there. Took me a while to figure out how to use the strap. Oh, worthless. Well, they got a cotter pin in here with the end of it that's bent back behind there. Who is the sadistic person who decided that was a good idea? Of course, I guess you can't really put it in from the other way. But why even bother? So, but it's coming out easily, so that's fine. There we go. All right, we got to figure out what size nut that is. What is this here? That's a 15/16. Well, we ain't gonna get a socket on that. We're going to have to have a wrench. What is that? That's 11/16 there. Look at that. Got lucky on that one. So, let's see. There we go. Where's my hammer? Probably. You can't get back in there. I'm gonna have to get a wrench in there. All right, y'all can't see back in there. There's gonna be some cussing involved, so I'll be back in a few minutes. Actually, that bolt is not moving, so that looks like might be a little easier than I initially anticipated. And the end of this bolt has got a an elongated blunt tip on it. And it appears to me as though it was designed to be pounded upon to drive that bolt out of there. Oh, the shims have a cotter pin through them. Okay, I see what that is. All right. Cool. That's actually kind of cool, actually. This is the end of the shims. They're actually long. They go from here, they go all the way back up in there and go right, and they wrap around this bolt. And this cotter pin right here keeps them, you know, basically in line, I guess you might say. How the hell you get? Anyway, never mind. I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm doing. I got an old broken 1/4-inch socket extension here. All right, I think the bolt will just slip out of there now in the back there, but it's a tight spot back in there. All right, we got her out of there finally. Basically just raised up this guy here a little bit, get a little tension off of that, and get a 1/2-inch wrench and get around this the shaft of the bolt, so you can hit up against the head and stick it up in there like that, and then tap on this side with a hammer down below, and it, you know, because there's no working room up in there. So anyway, I had to get a little crafty on that one. So, but that's all right, it's all good. The only thing holding this arm in this car is that strap right now and that jack. Let me lower this affair and see if I can't pull that out of the car. Let's let our strap down a little bit. That might help the situation. Yeah, let's let the weight of it pull it down. There we go. There we go. Come on out of there. There we go. There we go. Got to use your old noggin there, you know what I'm saying? Instead of your back. All right, let me get the camera situated here. All right, that is our rear torque arm, or whatever you want to call it. There we go. All right, let's get some eyeballs on this thing. All right, so this is where your drive axle bolts in right here. And so this is the this piece right here in between there, sandwiched in between there. It's the spindle flange, I guess you want to call it. And here's our hub. I believe this is going to have to be pressed out of here from the back side. It's like it's got a short spindle on it on the inside. And once you take all the crap on the inside off, you press this out with a press tool. And here's the bushing on the pivot end. And it's a little gnarly. You know, it was okay-ish, you know. But it's clearly, see there, you know, it's time. It's time. So, you know, we're doing this at the right time, really. The emergency brake looks good. But clearly the next step is to tear this down. All right, so here's our shims. And let me pull that pin out right there just far enough to get the inside ones out of there. That's what those look like. Pretty rusty. We'll just clean them up and reuse them later. We'll just tape these up. They're pretty nasty. Let me label these with a marker. All right, let's go ahead and label these up here inside. And pull that long cotter pin out of there. And that's our outside. They're pretty nasty, so this tape, as I don't see it, it's probably not going to hold, but so just put a big O right there for outside. Clearly we have a lot of cleanup work to do. The brakes on this car are fine. I'm not going to do anything to the brakes. It's got new calipers all the way around, albeit they're like 15 years old, but they're fine. The rotors are fine, but I am going to change out the bearings. All right, folks, I think I'm done for the day. It took probably 7 or 8 hours for me to get this thing out of here today. I had to go to Lowe's and pick up some metal cutting blades to lop off that bolt. That takes a little while out of your day. Plus, you have to eat and rest and do all the other things that make you happy in life. That and take your time and not get too bent out of shape about things. So if it takes you a little while, there you go. So I wanted to do this by the book. And that's what we did. So all the steps that you saw here were 95%, I guess you might say, by the factory service manual in '78. So, but we got it out of there. You know, it's pretty heavy. So I'd recommend putting some straps up here. I put some straps up over the bump stop bracket. You can take the bolt out and then you can just kind of lower it down really easily, and that worked out really well. This is Saturday night. I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up. Right now, I think I'm gonna go start buying parts. I kind of wanted to dig into this thing first and kind of see where I felt things were gonna go, and then start to buy some parts. So I think I'm gonna go inside and make up a wish list and get on my favorite parts website, probably Rock Auto, and see what we can find. And I'm sure we'll find a treasure trove on there like we always do. I don't think I'm going to film taking the other side apart, pretty much it's the same as this one. So I don't know that I'm going to film that. I may just tear it down, show you the results afterwards. But regardless, I've got to go ahead and order parts. In the next video, what we'll do is we'll continue the tear down. We'll pull the drive axles out of the diff. We'll take the horizontal leaf spring out, and we'll take the drive shaft out. I'd like to replace all the U-joints in those items. And clearly we'll take the strut rods out as well. We might get around to opening up the differential and see what's inside there. There's a lot of stuff in the way. You know, opening the differential on this car is hard to do because you got a big spring in the way, you got a spare tire in the way, the spare tire is going to come down. That's a lot of work. So, I mean, it's not just like crawling up underneath there and taking the cover off. It doesn't work that way with an old C3. So, all right, folks, I appreciate you guys stopping by the channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to be notified whenever I release a new video, don't forget to click that little bell down below. You guys take it easy and remember to enjoy restoring your classic Corvette.